I would not describe that I decided to write this book. It was, in a way, woven in my life story. When I was 24 years old, Jesus appeared to me in a splash of light in my room before I went to bed. And he just said 2 sentences to me and disappeared. And that changed my life, because I did not believe in any religion. I grew up Catholic. And it was these days really, a challenging conversation. I said, excuse me, we have a problem here, I first do not believe in you, and second, I don't believe in God, because after all my experience with Catholic education and this dogma that I have met there, I decided I better don't believe in anything. But it changed my life. So I asked for questions, and I had miracles going on these days, because one night in these days, me really questioning and asking for answers, something pulled me on my heart chakra, which I had already one event before in my life, and it took me into the subway of Vienna, where was a little bookshop, and like magnetically drawn into one row of these books, I pulled one book, and it was called it was a book about Jesus, and I bought it, and I went home and I opened that book, and the book talked about, I've never heard things like that before, I was a normal girl. I went to discotheques, I went out, I was a student, but something in me suddenly knew that is true, and I was reading truth, I deeply believe that we have like a sensor inside. When we read or see truth, we know it, I trust in that. So I agreed, I made an agreement with Jesus. Many years later, about 20 years later, I had a walk in South France, and I love to walk in the nature. And I came to one of those hills nearby here, where we are right now, where we are in South France. And I was sitting there under a tree on top of the hill, and it was like a curtain would go open, and I would see Jesus sitting there and preaching. And few people were sitting to his feet. And I came back and I thought, Jesus was not in South France. What is that, So pause again, pause again. 2 years later, I was sitting in a meditation, and Jesus came back to me. He never came back in all those years, He just left me walking, maybe watching over me, and he put me a book into my lap, and he said, go and write my real story. You have been there from the beginning to the end. Me, without any memory of that, me without any knowing. I remember the first time I met him, and I spoke within 1 hour about 20 pages, about how I was a little girl and I was in an ethnic community, and that how my father lived, and we lived in Jerusalem, and we were not with the real community, we were living outside Qumran, the ethnic community, and that I could see the colors of the people, the aura of the people, and I was just reading and reading and reading, and it was like while reading I started to remember what I did not remember. I did not invent that, because you cannot invent something like that. So within 2 weeks we had done the whole book. The book was spoken down, me reading the lines, and that was Jesus the Book, the first volume of the series that is now 3 volumes after all those years. We did not change a word. The book was just revised and we published it.